bumping. Billy got it bumping.
BeatStars.com. 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 BeatStars.com.
Hey everybody, how's it going? What's up, Bufo? Skyscraper, Oasis in the chat, Eighth Life. Ooh, I want to say this name, but I'm not even going to try. I'm so sorry, but hey, to the user that's on Facebook, Eiley Blair, Trevon, Steve Madden Beats. Hey everybody, you have to forgive me today. I am really not feeling well. I'm losing my voice, so I can't really raise it. If you can't hear me, please turn up your volume. If you see me blowing my nose, just respect it. It's cold season. Hope it's not COVID. But welcome back to The Deal. I'm Tia. I'm the Music Opportunities Manager here at BeatStars. If you're new to the deal, we're highlighting our BeatStars Publishing roster. BeatStars Publishing is a partnership between BeatStars and Sony Music Publishing, who are the #1 global music publisher in the world. If you're interested in finding out more information, including how you can sign up for BeatStars Publishing, you could head over to beatstars.com/publishing. And don't forget to follow at BeatStars Publishing on Instagram for some free industry game and to get better acquainted with the talented producers on our roster. This week, we're hanging out with 100 Gram and Oasis, but if you want to rewatch this interview, you can check it out later alongside all of our past shows and BeatStars content, including tutorials on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/officialbeatstars. Do not forget to subscribe to be notified of new uploads. Bufo said I need the computer voice that Stephen Hawkins had. That is a reckless comment. But without further ado, I'm going to bring the men of the hour in. Hello, gentlemen.
What's up?
What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Everybody meet Oasis and 100 Gram. 100 Gram and Oasis meet everybody.
What's up?
Deal.
Hello.
It's been a minute since I've had 2 guests on the show, so I'm not really used to like going back and forth anymore. But I don't know who wants to start first, but I would love for you guys to introduce yourself, let us know who you are, where you're from, and what kind of music you make.
All right, I'll kick it off.
Hi, Graham.
So my name is Graham. I go by 100 Gram. I'm a producer, pop, R&B, hip hop, whatever. I'm from Dallas, but I currently live in Oklahoma, so that's where I'm at. So yeah, part of the BeatStars Publishing team, and here on the deal to talk about some music. So let's go.
Welcome aboard. Oasis.
How's it going? So my name is Oasis. My real name is Kenny. I've been producing for about almost 5 years now. I started in 2017, based out of Cleveland, Ohio. And yeah, I'm with BeatStars in the deal.
Okay, so one of my favorite questions ever, and I ask everybody, but I want to know how you guys got started in music. But before we learn about like the technical aspect of it, I want to know what your earliest memory of music was.
Okay. You want to start, Hunter?
Yeah, man, earliest memory. I started playing guitar when I was in like the 2nd grade. So that's kind of when music started. I wasn't doing any production or anything that young, but I guess that's kind of when it started. So yeah, about then.
Oasis.
For me, I used to skateboard when I was a little kid, and I just remember like anytime I'd put on like one of my favorite songs, I would just like get locked in. I didn't make music or anything at that time, but I just knew it was like something I really enjoyed, even just as a fan. So
What songs were you listening to? Like what were some of your
Oh man, I would say like 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying, early 2000s, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Come on,
That's Mob It. Yeah. When I was 9, 10 years old, though, for sure. Yeah, I loved like 50 Cent, Eminem, that kind of stuff. Just like the early 2000s, late 90s rap. That was my vibe.
The street as a kid, just many men blasting in your ear. That's
Yeah, I didn't understand the lyrics. I was just having a good time.
It's so funny. 50 Cent's album, like I can't remember. I was probably in like 1st grade when that came out, and my mother like refused to let me listen to it.
Oh yeah,
absolutely refused. And that was a time where everybody would exchange CDs and stuff, and my mom saw it in my hand. She's like, "Give it back."
That's funny. Yeah,
Thanks.
Same here. Same here. I had to like record it like on a cassette tape.
Oh my goodness, the finesse. Well, I'm glad
Dang, bro.
you have that memory. It's very visceral.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about how you guys started getting into production. How did you end up on this path? How did you find yourself here?
Yeah, so I started, I guess, in middle school. I don't even know how I got into it, but like I had like iPhone apps or whatever of like the beat maker things that you put on your phone. And man, those things were like $8, those apps. And I thought that was like way too much money to spend, but we were going to sell out and get it. So man, that's where I started. Really enjoyed it, just doing it for fun, whatever, when I was just chilling. I think my sophomore year of high school, I heard about Logic, didn't even really know it was a thing. And so I saved up, downloaded it, and just kind of started messing around on it. and I really enjoyed it. Like I had no idea you could make music and live off of this stuff and any of that. I was just like, I think this is cool. It's like a video game to me. So man, I was like just messing around, creating stuff. And then about my beginning of my senior year of high school, which would have been like 2019, 2020, I was like, I feel like my beats are good enough that maybe I could like see if artists want to be on them. And like prior to making music, like I was really into like finding underground artists and like took pride in like, oh, I saw them first before they blew up and stuff like that. So like all the people I listened to were like relatively small artists, and I could like get my stuff out there to them. So I didn't have an Instagram. I didn't have a personal Instagram or anything for music. So I was just messaging people through the SoundCloud DMs and like finding emails in their bios and like sending just emails. And so sometime in my senior year of high school, like some of those people like were like, yeah, let's work. And so ended up getting a few songs, some with like people that are still like my favorite artists to date, which is super cool. But yeah, and so it just kind of started there. And then yeah, just kept making music, kept reaching out to people. And then this year it kind of started to do really well, started taking off. So now it's what I want to do full time. I'm a college student right now, but when I'm out, like that's all I'm going to be doing. So yeah, started on the iPhone, and you know now we're doing this. So it's been really cool.
That's so crazy. What are you studying in school?
Marketing.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
useful. That is very
yeah. Hopefully it'll carry over a little bit.
No, it definitely will. I think it's interesting what you said about like being that first person to hear an artist and put people on. I think that's probably one of my favorite experiences, experiencing music, really. It's kind of snobby in a way, but it's also just like, you're late. You should have known this. What do you mean?
Yeah, facts. No, for real.
Oasis, how did you get into production? What was your story?
So I would say my story is I originally used to rap. My music isn't out there anymore, but like I had a few songs out there. I was really passionate about it. Like I knew I had the love for it, but like it just wasn't all together. Like I would listen to my songs and I would be like, okay, well, you know, I don't love it, but like I still am passionate towards it. So after a while, just like trial and error, kind of just like putting things up to the wall and see what sticks, I just realized that, you know, I'm not sure if rapping is really for me. And that just kind of comes with like self-awareness and just like realizing like, you know, initially I thought I wanted to be the guy on stage, like dapping people up and like people singing my lyrics and stuff. But then I realized like I'm probably a lot better behind the scenes, like, you know, making beats and helping bring other people up. And yeah, ever since I made that switch, it just kind of like, you know, I kind of picked it up a little bit quicker, and then yeah, just really locked in. He was talking about college. When I was in college, you know, a couple years ago, I was basically, when I wasn't in class, I was at home, kind of trying to figure out FL Studio and just making beats.
Wow, that's such a like crazy story. I think it's pretty cool that you kind of you shifted this experience for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also it's interesting being an artist or having an artist background. You kind of have a feel for what you're able to bring to the table for other artists. And I hope that was something that you were able to kind of eliminate from your learning process a little bit, because you're already there. That's pretty awesome.
Right. I didn't want to like stop because I knew I loved music. So like if rapping didn't work, then I'd figure out I'd be an engineer, or I would be a producer or a songwriter or something. And I think that's important. Like you don't want to just, obviously everything takes time, but you don't want to just drive yourself mad, try and do the same thing over and over again if you're not seeing the results you want from it.
100%. I'm glad you said that. I want to know how you guys figured out that you could make a living off of this, and how did you pivot into making it a business for yourself? Graham, you can go first.
Man. All right. I guess it kind of took me a while. Like I was very oblivious to the fact that people were making music off beats, and I think that's crazy. It's still crazy to me. But I don't know. When I first started like sending beats out, I was just giving things for free. I didn't even think producers made money. Just like I just thought it was cool hearing people on my songs. As I kind of started getting more and more songs and just watching YouTube videos and kind of content like this, whether it be on BeatStars or Producer Grind or any of those other like producer platforms, like hearing people like, yo, like you can sell your beats and make money off this stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna start charging a little bit, and I was doing like $40 exclusives. Thought that was crazy. And then like just kept, the more I learned, and then as things grew, like more and more people were like, yo, I would want your beats, and I would pay for them. And I don't know, over time as I built up like credibility and things, it just kind of became more evident. So I mean, I'm still not full time. I'm pretty close, but I'm a college student right now, so I'm not working full time music. But it is like, it's super doable for anybody that is good at what they do and can work hard at it. But yeah, I think the shift was kind of like late last year. It was like I was kind of seeing, it was like my first month of like doing like pretty good sales. And I was like, yo, like in a year I could double this, and then a year from that, like I'm pretty sure I could double that. And just kind of doing like the math of that, like trying to estimate my scale. I was like, by this year, like I could do music full time. Just because I don't think anybody should, but I didn't plan on like, I knew if I'm gonna keep making beats and keep sending stuff out, like I'm not gonna get less opportunities. Like the more I'm putting myself out there, it's gonna come. So yeah, I guess that's kind of where it started with me, like thinking, oh yeah, I can definitely do this.
Okay, hold that thought. I want to talk to you about scaling your growth, but Oasis, I want to know how you decided or when you realized you could start like really making money from producing.
So I would say I started even before I was a producer, like when I was a rapper and I was buying beats. I'm like, I wonder how many copies like this guy sells, or like, so that kind of just being a rapper alone, needing beats, wanting to lease. BeatStars is so easy to use. You get it right away. It kind of like the thought popped in my head, but I didn't really realize that, yeah, there's so many producers that like, they may not be a household name, but like they're, generating a full-time income from their house on their own time, dropping the music they want to release on their schedule. And I just thought that was amazing, and I also heard a lot of, I don't want to say horror stories, but just bad experiences with like labels and stuff, and like, personal. And this is when I first started making beats. Like I knew some people that had some pretty big placements, and just like, whatever, for one reason or another, just, they never were paid for it, or they were paid very little. So yeah, I just kind of realized then, I was like, wow, like I could kind of avoid a lot of that and really just build an online business using, something like BeatStars.
That's really fire. How did you guys even find BeatStars to begin with? Like what was the, I guess it's a two-part question. How did you decide to put your business onto BeatStars, and when or why did you decide to sign with us?
Man, and honestly, I'm not even like, my BeatStars page is like pretty dry. Like I haven't done very well of like pushing that. So like that's definitely something that I've started getting better at. But I think I started like, I say like waves of uploading, because I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get after it for like 2 weeks, and then something would come up and I wouldn't keep that discipline. But I think I uploaded my first beat to BeatStars really early, like probably a couple months after started making beats. And I remember I chose BeatStars because I pulled up like BeatStars and Airbit, or which I don't think it was called Airbit then. It was something different maybe. But it was like I couldn't spend any money on it, so it was like which one had the best free plan. And it was like BeatStars got the most. I can get more tracks uploaded for free. So I was like, all right, I'll go with it. And I like uploaded that one beat, and I was like, all right, this one's gonna sell like crazy, and nothing happened. But man, so that's how I chose BeatStars. And then earlier this year, I was like, all right, I need to upload again, like get back to it, because I hadn't been uploading at all. And then uploaded for like a month, and then finals hit and I stopped, and I was like, so I beat myself up about it because I know I got to get back on it. So we're doing strong right now. But yeah, so I didn't.
He never watches this episode.
Man, I hope so. Yeah, this needs to stay low. No, so but yeah, signing with BeatStars came from a lot of not like my own BeatStars page, a lot of like songs. So like Dylan reached out because he manages an artist who was like listening to a song that I had produced. And so
Mm.
Dylan like tracked his way back to it and reached out and was like, yo, I like the song. And we got to talking. And then he actually lives around Dallas. So we got lunch one day. So that's kind of how it happened, was just through songs that I had produced. So, I mean, I signed with BeatStars. There's a lot of reasons, but one was just like knowledge, because I thought I knew a lot about music. And then once these songs like started doing well, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing. So Dylan's really been good about like guiding me through that stuff. And then opportunities, like we have some crazy placement opportunities that like they be sending through. So that's been super cool. And then collecting mechanicals, because that was something that I couldn't do on my own, needed somebody to do it. And so, yeah, BeatStars has been really clutch for that.
Well, we're so happy to have you, and I'm glad that you were able to well, I'm glad that Dylan was able to find you the way he did, because that's super organic.
Yeah, definitely.
A very beautiful story. Oasis, what about you? How did you find BeatStars and put your business online? And then what made you lean into wanting to sign with us?
Yeah, for sure. So I touched on a little bit in the last answer, but when I first discovered BeatStars, I was on the other side of the spectrum, right? I was a rapper. So I was like, what is this? And then, I saw every producer, every type beat, it was a BeatStars link. So that kind of got me on BeatStars. Just like as a buyer. And then as a producer, what made me choose BeatStars? I would say that you guys actually like host events. You relate to your community. You do things like Track Train, some of these other platforms. They had they have a beat store, but that's about it. Like there's no like real customer data. You don't get to collect emails. I don't know, maybe it's been updated, but like from the few producer friends I had that used other platforms, it just didn't have the capabilities that BeatStars had. And also, like I was saying earlier, it just kind of felt more like a family. Like I could reach out to someone at BeatStars and they'll actually get back to me and they'll care. It's not just like I'm just in this, it basically what I'm saying is, other companies, it felt like they only just provided the beat stores. BeatStars felt like it encompassed the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, I think something that attracted me to BeatStars, even just working here, was how community facing it was. And the benefit is, like, working here, I get to learn things I've never learned before or done before, especially when it comes to our seminars or all the videos that we have available on YouTube. So I can see why that would be an enticing feature. I just want to answer this question that's in the chat right now. I don't do type beats. I'm all original. Does that matter? Absolutely not. You don't have to make type beats, but you will find that on the platform, if you're tagging certain artists and genres, it helps push you through on the search a little bit. It doesn't necessarily mean that you just have to be on here doing like a Lil Baby type beat. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, for
right.
Sure.
That's what I was gonna like. When you think of, if you don't mind me touching on that, when you think of type beat, just think of like a way for people to see you on the internet. It's not like you have to like follow a really specific formula. It's simple, just SEO, which for those that might not know what that means, just search engine optimization. So it's just a way for people to see your music. So if you're somewhat in like, the stratosphere of a certain type of sound, you could use an artist just so you're more likely to rank at the top of YouTube searches. That's pretty much all it is. So I think a lot of producers would at least like to consider themselves original, including myself.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, thank you for leaning into that. I think sometimes I forget that there are a lot of folks watching who are very, very new to the platform, because I'm so used to the little family that we have in the chat here. So that was a really great question. I hope that answered your question. But yeah, like they said, it's just going to help you pop up in the search. My recommendation is always at least tag one artist, one genre, fill in all of the metadata that you can as far as moods go and BPM and stuff. Get as granular as you can as you upload your music so that it makes it easier for people to find you. Now, that being said, perfect segue. I wanna pivot back a little bit to the conversation, Graham, where you were talking about how you were projecting what your years would look like, and knowing that if you keep putting yourself out there, you're not going to get less opportunities, you'll get more. So I want to know what that looks like for you. How are you projecting your years, and what do you think is the key to reaching out to people to work with them?
Yeah, definitely. This is not coming from like a YouTube platform or anything like that. Like this is everything I've kind of done has been through like reaching out to people and just like networking organically. I think my best like piece of advice and something that I've tried to stay true to is like every placement you get opens the door for another placement. So if you get a song with this artist, then you can go to all his friends and be like, hey man, like I produced for this dude, let's work. And a lot of times, like whenever you're just trying to slide in somebody's DMs, like, hey man, let me send you beats. Like people are like, everybody says that, you know, but it's like, hey man, I would love to work. Let's do stuff. I produce for this guy. And he's like, oh dude, I love that man's music. So, you know, they're already open to it. So that's how everything's gone for me. Like I don't have any like major placements, but it's all started from like one artist and then working with the people in his circle and then their circle until it's eventually built up to now we're working with people who are doing pretty good numbers. So yeah, just definitely using every song to get another song. And that's what it is. It's like growth's not going to stop scaling, because if I keep reaching out to these people, every time I get a song, that's a whole nother group of people that you're open to, you can work with now. So that's kind of how I guess I see it to like scale it.
Absolutely. I think that's not something that we get to talk about a lot. I know not everybody has placements, and I know that some people really lean into that, or are interested in that. But for those of you that do, we don't really talk about leveraging your catalog. I think when we have these conversations about what reaching out looks like, it's usually like we're talking about the etiquette of it. But definitely use what you have to your advantage. And if you don't have anything, I think maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, jump in. But I feel like if I were a producer, I would be reaching out to artists and being like, hey, I love this one particular song. I'm under the assumption that this is your sound. I have a couple of beats. Let me know if I could send it through to you. But then
Exactly,
you
yeah.
have to have that conversation about what cold reach outs look like and how to structure yourself. But what about you, Oasis? How do you put yourself out there? What does the process look like for you? How are you managing what your growth looks like?
So I've been doing the YouTube type beats for a little bit. I would say that's where I started, just because I wanted to practice, you know, just before I went and really were like hitting up artists that I really liked to send, like, let me just hone in my skill. Let me post a beat every day just to get in that kind of routine, you know, and just to practice. And I had a couple beats do pretty well and sell solid, but what I've personally seen the most success with is sample making. I think it's super underrated. Like if you're great, like a fantastic melody maker where you're sending basically alley oops, like the bass is there, like there's like a really good, you know, guitar or a chord, just, you know, just a fully, you know, fledged out sample. And then you have good connections with these people. For example, like I think you had Piper Beats on here recently. That's a good friend of mine. I was actually just in Philadelphia with him the other week. But yeah, I mean, if you have good samples and you send them to these producers now, kind of like what Graham was saying, now not only do you have access to your subscribers, but, you know, maybe 30,000 other people that are subscribed to Piper or subscribed to this guy. So, you know, if they like your loops and they want to use your stuff, obviously nothing, you know, it's not assumed that they'll use it. But if you got great stuff and they're within your niche and they're your friend, I don't see why not.
I think that is the perfect thing to say. Definitely utilizing your network. Graham, because I'm a little bit more familiar with you, I know you work with Gavin. And you and Gavin actually collaborated on the beat that for a song by Nick D that blew up called Fine Apple. We spoke to Gavin the other week. So I know that Gavin is a loop maker. So how do you guys, I would actually, both of you guys could talk about it, but I would love to know how you guys find people to collaborate with and trust them enough to go through these experiences with each other, especially in the case of, you know, putting a song out that does huge numbers and blows up.
I guess at least the way that me and Gavin work is it's like Gavin is connected to Nick, but like ultimately kind of, I mean, what Oasis was saying, like when you tap into other people's networks, you know, you get to see who they're working with. So like me and Nick have been working for a couple months. And then me and Gavin started sending loops. And so then whenever we started making songs, he taps into everybody that I'm working with. So it's exactly what Oasis was saying. But yeah, me and Gavin actually, because of Pineapple, the song did well. So now like Gavin sends his loops to Nick and to me. So he sends to the artist and the producer, and the artist will record the whole song on just the loop, and then he sends me that, and then I just finish out the drums. So it's very like half. Gavin does his part, I do my part, and the song comes together. So it's really efficient. Like we get a lot of songs done doing it that way, just because we're not having to spend as much time. He can work on his own pace, and I work at mine. So I mean, I'm not much of a loop maker. Like I love doing them, but they're a lot harder for me. So I usually stick to drums because that's usually where I find my success. So I'm super thankful to the people that can fill that void, because collaboration is collaboration is not like it doesn't mean you're like not a good producer. It's just like you're trying to get the best quality you can out of anything. So
you guys are waiting to each other's strengths to make something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oasis, what about you? Like, how do you know that working with Piper in particular works for you and your style? Like, what about that dynamic works for you guys?
Well, we just have similar taste, and we also like knew each other before any accolades or type of like achievement. So like he liked my sound. It was no like I'm trying to get something out of you or you're trying to get something out of me. I think it's important, especially for newer producers, like, you know, the sky's the limit. Obviously hit up who you want, but there's a saying that just goes like, think of like your destination and then work backwards. So like, what is your like ultimate goal? Like, where do you want to see yourself? And now reverse engineer it. So think like, okay, you know, how am I going to get to there? Like, what are the steps like going backwards? So I just think, you know, instead of maybe messaging this artist, maybe you should figure out like what, you know, Graham said. He did a little, or who was that guy that you went to lunch with? What was his name again? Dylan. Yeah, so Dylan went, like, he did a little backtracking. He found out who made this song and then reached out to you. Same thing, you can do that with songs. Like, maybe there's an upcoming mid-level artist. Like, wow, I really like this song. Go to Spotify, go to, you know, song credits. If they registered it right, you should see the producer name. And then, yeah, if you have really good samples, you can always send them a message, say, hey, you know, I listened to your song. Say something specific so they know you actually did. You're not just, like, mass forwarding people, which is a big thing. And then just say, hey, do you have an email I could send some samples to? You know, I feel like our sounds mesh really well together. Just say something, you know, organic, and then most importantly, come through with really great stuff because, you know, with platforms like Splice and all this other stuff, it's like people have options. You know, you do really want to come correct when it comes to sample making or, you know, spending time listening to your samples or beats.
Absolutely.
Snaps. Yeah. I'll say me and Oasis talked about this yesterday, but as far as it comes to like artists, a way that like I've tried to think about it is like everybody wants a Drake placement, but like if you start with the people now, then in 5 years, like those people are the Drake placements, you know? So it's like the people that me and Oasis are working now that like, you know, they're starting to get some traction. Like we're those people's like guys, like we're their main producers. Like where you see all those top guys, they got people in their circles. And so like linking with people, it's patient. It takes patience and it's more work sometimes. I mean, if you can get a big placement, go for it. Like I'm sending out to try to get big placements too, but I'm not neglecting the fact that like investing in the people who aren't there yet, but like have the potential in the long run can pay off like incredible dividends. So
exactly. And even if you do land it, sometimes just not the same. Like you're just another guy who got a placement. I hate to say it, but like if you really came up with someone like, you know, if the artist just depends on the artist, but a lot of people are like, wow, no, that guy looked out for me. He made me custom beats. He spent all night with me in the studio when I had nothing, when no one gave me any looks. So it's just a different dynamic than to just somebody who happened to email me a beat, you know. Sometimes, it's just not the same. So I would recommend, work with artists of all levels, but especially network horizontally. Don't like just try to like get these random huge songs because maybe even if they do land, it might not be the best thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
No, I definitely agree. I think we always have this conversation about placements, and I understand the want or the need to chase big placements or get, you know, posted up alongside like a Drake or whatever the case may be. I understand what that can do for someone's career, but to your guys' point, like building that organic relationship and really investing the time, you never know what's going to happen, especially when there's like a machine within a team and the process that makes sense for you guys. Like it's almost a sure bet, at least in some realms.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to know what your guys' favorite placement is to date and why. I'll let you go first.
No, go for it.
Me?
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay, I would say my favorite placement is a song called Sunday by Tom the Mailman, because it was probably the first or second like really cool music video I saw to a song that I produced, and that was like a whole new world. There's this company called Overcast. They're like fantastic with videos, and they actually just started throwing concerts. They just recently had one where Aries was the headliner, so that was really dope. But I would say, yeah, that was my favorite placement. And then also like, you know, a picture of that song was on Rolling Stone, so that was like a big moment for me. I was like, wow, like it's crazy, you know, from the bedroom to there. So very grateful.
Pretty crazy. And you have a couple tracks with Tom the Mailman.
Oh yeah, a ton. Yeah.
So what is that relationship like? How did you guys even link up to begin with?
Yeah, for sure. So Tom was one of the first people, I would say, with producing. The hardest thing is like getting that first look, like getting that first like medium to large size artist. Be like, I like this guy, I'm gonna use his beat. So with Tom, it was kind of similar to that. Like he was somebody I found. Spotify. Let me stop there for a second and say, yeah, Spotify is a great way to find artists. Just like Discover Weekly, I think it was, or the new playlist you get every Monday. He was like on that, and then at the time he had like 2K monthly listeners on Spotify. And I really liked his music. But at that time I was only making beats for like a year or so. I heard that he was having a concert in Atlanta, so like I hopped in my car with like one of my friends from college and drove like 8 hours from Ohio to Atlanta to go see him. And this is when he was like obviously really low key, so he was just like blown away that someone would even come see him from that far at the time. Like he's pretty big now, but at the time. And so yeah, I didn't like land the placement right then and there, but like he saw my face, he was like, wow, like this dude, like let me at least hear him out, you know. So then we started the conversation, and I started sending him beats, and then kind of 4 or 5 packs later, he picked 2 that he used, Sunday being one of them, and another one being Pisces Don't Stand with Bad Police. So after we made those 2 records, like he was all right, I like this guy's beats, and we just kept going. And he was one of my favorite artists, so it worked too. I didn't mind sending him like my pick of the litter type beats.
Right. Wow. Look at dedication. That's what y'all need to do.
That's tight.
That's fire.
Appreciate that.
What about you, Graham? What's your favorite placement to date?
Man, I'd have to say Fine Apple, just because it opened so many doors. There's like so many cool stories with it, just as far as it did really well on radio. So like hearing it in public, like naturally, and then just like friends like texting me like, yo, I'm at a bowling alley and your song's on, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that one was really special to me, just because I had never, and that was kind of like that's what brought me to BeatStars. It opened just a lot of doors with people who wouldn't have known who I was, or people who I tried to send beats to and they were like, nah. And then you get a song and people come back. So no, it really helped out a lot. So, and I love the song. Like Nick's he might be my favorite artist out. So like getting to work with the people and making music that I enjoy making. I mean, that's I won't trade it for anything. So no, that's definitely my favorite.
Wow, I love that for you guys. Honestly, I think that's really special. And whether it's building a relationship from the ground up or having a song that literally changes the trajectory of your career, those are very large blessings. And I'm glad that you guys have been able to come across those things. Let me turn this light down. It's looking a little crazy on my face over here. I think something that we've overlooked, and not maybe in this episode specifically, we've talked about it on other shows, but you know, placing music with artists isn't the only way to get your music out there and make money. I know, Graham, you've got a 2K placement, you got a sync. So how did that come to be, and what's that been like for you?
That's been cool. Still haven't seen the check because music runs slow sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, that came about with working with an artist. His name's Bocce. and not a major artist by any chance, as far as numbers go, but he makes solid music and works hard and is super connected with just places like that. So I think it came through United Masters. They have some sort of relationship with 2K. Yeah, and woke up one morning with a text and like a video of like a song I did in 2K. So that was like super cool.
Crazy.
So yeah, I mean, sync placements are crazy. Like, and it doesn't even sync placement, like the songs that get used for sync are not the songs that tend to be used that are on the charts. Like there's like a different style. So, I mean, I know artists that have 10,000 monthly listeners and are making 100K a year off just making songs for sync.
Wow.
So man, like linking with people that have those opportunities is like another way that you can get income and not have to, and you're not trying to chase placements or not having to get those placements. I'm not an expert at those things. I know people that know things, but I don't have the connections on my own. But I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's all about collaboration. So, you know, tapping into other people's networks, kind of like what we were saying earlier. So,
yeah, I think for me, something I always tell you guys is like, get to know who's who. There are summits that are literally meant specifically for music supervisors. Go online, look up the list of who's attending, start building your relationships that way. Look at the credits of a show or a video game or whatever. Find out who the teams are and what your pathway is, because I think a lot of people overlook sync, especially some people who are not intentional about making commercial kind of music, which is often, like you said, what sync is not looking for is that commercial viability. They're looking for something original or a very, very specific BPM or whatever the case may be. So there's something out there for everyone. Oasis, sure. I want to talk about the fact that you're basically an engineer.
Yeah.
How did that fold into your career? And
so I was so that kind of goes back to when I started rapping. I was just like, okay, well, I'm not good. I don't want to go to a studio and spend 5 hours to get 2 lines done that I actually like, or then spend all day and then not even like the song. You know, everybody knows that struggle as a producer, a creator at any kind, like the first like 100 or whatever. Maybe you'll get lucky and get better quicker. But for me, you know, I can remember vividly like the first 20 to 50 at least beats I didn't really like. So I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was the
how did you land or find yourself becoming an engineer, and what do you like?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So sorry. So connecting that, basically I wanted to learn to mix and master myself because I didn't like want to go in the studio and all that. So I just I did there's something called Pensado's Palace, or and that's basically like the pro audiophiles. They sell these courses on how to mix. I spent like $300-400 on it, and it basically gave you like these stems to work with, and you could follow along with this guy. And I pretty much just taught myself how to do it, and I felt like it was really important once I started producing that way. Once I did sessions in person, we could track a demo, you know, like I can record vocals, and maybe I'm not the mastering engineer in this specific scenario, but we can at least get like a rough sound. Because otherwise you're like relying on an engineer showing up, or, you know, we have everything we need. All I need is my laptop, a mic, and, you know, the artist at hand. So I just felt like it was a very good skill. And also I found it to be more consistent income, like for at least for the type beats. I will say that, because it's hard to be like, this is my producer, this is the only guy I get my beats from, just this guy. But with engineer, if that's your engineer, that's your engineer. Very, at least from what I've seen, you know, artists will stick with their engineer. Like, I only trust this guy with my vocals or my sound. So that helped open up a lot of different placement wise too. Like, I'll be working on this one guy record, and he'd be like, oh yeah, I got Dizzy Red on this song, or I got Nezzy on this song. So it will open up opportunities, as well as just make you more of a valuable asset in the studio. Not only do I have beats, we could track a record right now and mix it and do all that. So.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that. I think even in my experience working with the artists that I'm working with, it's like, damn, like we like this producer, but this guy can't track vocals. So now it's like an added cost. You got to pay someone to come to the studio. And like, obviously we want to pay everybody, but having that opportunity to work with somebody who can kind of do it all and encompass
Yeah.
it all, it's so useful and so helpful. So I'm glad you took the time to teach yourself that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Graham, you mentioned to me that you worked with Google to develop some AI production software. So
Yeah.
what the hell was that?
Yeah, no, that
Didn't
was
hear that
wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I have a friend, his name's MJX Music. And he is a rapper, but is employed at Google. So rap's kind of a side thing, but he works at cloud storage at Google. And so I've like produced for him. We're like friends. I talk to him a lot. And so this dude's a genius. I mean, he's working at Google, so he's got to be smart.
Yeah.
But he hits me up one day and is like, yo, like I'm making artificial intelligence, like beat making software. And it's like you kind of see like things coming up, plugins of like, oh, you put it in, it spits out a drum pattern or something like that. But this was like, this thing is making like full melodies and like, it's making everything. So
Shut it down.
dude, for real.
Wait,
like,
so we'll get the credit for that then? Like, how the heck does that
so
work?
he like pitched the idea and they were like, yo, this is incredible. We're going to back you with it. So they've been helping out a lot with it. As far as helping them develop it. So it's still like very much in the early stages. And I don't think it'll replace humans because like, you know, there's still the creative aspect to music that won't be lost, but it is. So like I helped out with basically because it's artificial intelligence, it has to learn from things. So there was like a group of us that like basically sent MIDI files and melodies and drum patterns. And they basically plugged them all into this machine or the artificial intelligence. And with all the files, it can create what it thinks is like what the right formula for music. And so now it can like spit out MIDI files.
That is terrible.
So it's crazy just as far like I know like there's a lot of companies like interested in it just because like, I mean, if you start thinking if it gets really good and it can like spit out MIDI files, like that's an opportunity there for money or anything. So like, I think if it starts to do like if it really grows and it does what it could be possibly capable of, like it's got a lot of opportunities.
It's gonna erase y'all the same way we're erasing cashiers with self-checkout.
No,
Yeah, you gotta chill on that. I second that.
Are we? Imagine the day where like a project drops and you're like going through the credits and it's like the writer credit or the
It's all AI.
Google.
Yeah.
Google. That is so crazy. It's cool, but it's like, damn, what the heck? That is so scary. Also.
Yeah. So no, I mean, it won't take away because like there is a creative and aspect to music that is needed, but I think it'll be like, especially for melodies, like people are like, dude, I need a MIDI file, and you just like hit the button and it spits out. I mean, like the first time I like messed with it in the rough stages, it did like 50 MIDI files in a second, like some crazy stuff. So if they get it perfected, like it could be really helpful and could change how music's made, and this could be really cool.
Listen,
so we'll
y'all
see.
heard that? 50 files in a minute. Those of you who don't be responding to your emails for 3 days, count your days. It's over for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know where to take it from there, but your guys' beats, I'm actually a little bit shocked right now. I'm kind of scared. I have to call Abe. Who wants to go first? Who wants to play their music first?
You got it.
I'll go first. Yeah, sure.
All right, Oasis it is. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. Can y'all see? I don't know if we have a little there we go. Okay, so what would you like to start with?
Let's do the first one. Okay,
Right.
it's a collab with Brock.
Cool.
Sure.
Oh, that was one of the beats that I wish I could just like run through from top to bottom, but we don't.
That's a vibe. That's a vibe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to do like beautiful melodies with ignorant drums, like just loud 808 right in your face. I love that kind of stuff. It's my
I need
favorite.
you to get that on a T-shirt. Beautiful melody, and drum.
That's pretty tough.
I definitely think the tags are aligned. Low Wave came in and gave you a bunch of Tim boots, and
Hey, I'll take that. I'll
So
take that.
dope.
Stepping on the competition.
The
let's
Tims.
go. That is hilarious. All right, you want to just
Thank
go in
you.
order, or do you want to play something else?
Oh yeah, we'll switch it up the style. Let's do Always Know. That was one of my like first beats that like did pretty well on YouTube. It's kind of more of a boom bap one.
All right, cool.
Oh wow, that was the old tag. That's funny. Forgot that was there.
Just waking up to a good day type beat.
Take it.
Sorry, I just want to answer this question in the chat. Keeps coming
You
up.
good?
I know some of you guys were in the show on the list. We had an issue with our playlisting the other week, so just give it some time. You will get added. Don't worry. Just hold on. Hold on. Just a little more patience. You will get added. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah, everything you make is so smooth.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Feels like a nice
really
little
do.
summer day.
Yeah, I try to make happy and soulful stuff. I'm all over the place, but like that's like always my bread and butter. I come back to it time and time again.
Fire. All right. Well, beat number 3. What do you
Cool.
want to do?
Let's do Armani. That was a little more different style.
All right.
Oasis.
Something for Jack Harlow.
Oasis.
Nice.
You want to like do a little cha-cha or something?
Yeah,
The
definitely
tag
inspired
is-
by that Latin kind of Spanish vibe.
Yeah, that Tiger tag was spot on. I could definitely hear that man on that song. All right.
Cool.
Track.
And then Better Days. We'll
Better
just
Days.
play a little bit of each. Sounds good.
All right.
Oasis.
fire.
This needs to go up on TikTok. This
Thank
is
you.
They're like,
where it's like the girls are getting up like, get ready with me today.
Yeah, I can hear
oh
that.
yeah, that's
I can
facts.
hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to get that up on TikTok.
That like that drum texture or whatever in the melody is crazy.
Lasers, yeah, like lasers and just a little ear
Yeah,
candy. A lot of
that's
things.
so tough.
Quick, like beat tip. Like if you think your beat's like done, like melodically, maybe try adding some texture. I think texture is super underrated, personally.
Okay. Well,
And
this
then,
is the final beat. Better. Any last words?
not at the moment. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying it.
Oasis.
I never know where to stop things because sometimes I'm like, damn, do they have like another drop or something that I'm about to miss?
You're good. Yeah.
Fire. Yeah, I see you like understand like the Baby Keem tag by the way of like the drums.
Mm-hmm.
I know his drums are always kind of crazy. But yeah, do you have any last words now before I switch over to Cap?
Last words in regards to like.
Just like
The beat.
anything about your sharing your beats or anything like that. You get the opportunity to sign off after, of course, but just anything you want to say about the music that you're making. No pressure though.
Just don't try. I mean, this is kind of like, I know this advice has been given a lot, but like it took a long time for me to understand it. Like there is no right or wrong in music. I think it's more important to be unique than it is to be good, you know, whatever that entails, and just really try to like be in your face. Like you're either gonna love it or hate it. Like I try to go full blown with that like really melodic kind of a lot of layers type sound, and you know that's just my vibe. So I would say just whatever you're feeling, just go for it. Don't try to emulate other people's sound just because you see it works. You know, just trust your gut type of thing.
Period.
For sure.
Okay. Graham, you're on deck, buddy.
All right.
Let's do this.
Let's go.
Load. I love that for us. There we go. Where do you want to start? We could do 5.
Man, that last one, that's the pop stuff, I guess.
All right, let's do it.
I like that vocal.
All right, Splice, man.
BeatStars.com. BeatStars.com.
Who did you hear on that, Graham?
Man,
You get
I don't know.
Pitbull on that.
Pitbull, bro, that'd be
good.
crazy. I don't know, man. I just thought I tried to hit like a mainstream pop. So I don't know, like some type. I always heard like a male artist, but I really don't know. I think it'd be cool if it was probably like a male artist with I don't know, good tone or something.
Fair enough. All right, what's your next pick?
Man, we could do. Let's go Modest top. Those are.
This one's hard.
BeatStars.com. BeatStars.com.
I like that one a lot.
Appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun, but also very airy. You know.
Yeah. No, I think I tagged it with Mosey and Techo, which is kind of that type of stuff. I love that sound, like just listening to it. So.
Very dope. All right, beat 3.
Man, we'll switch it. Let's go Glass.
Guys, I'm really interested in hearing this J Rock type beat because.
All right, we got it next.
J Rock. All right. Sorry, you said Glass though. Right?
Sure.
All right.
BeatStars.com. BeatStars.com. BeatStars.com.
I was vibing.
I like what you did in the middle there too.
Appreciate it. Yeah. No, I think whatever. I can't remember who made the loop off the top of my head, but they had all those sections. So
Oh wow.
super cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to all the loop makers that put sections, man. You can make different stuff.
The chat was going up for that beat for sure. So I don't know. Better push that one. All right, what do you want to do next?
You can hit Melbourne if the J Rock.
All right.
BeatStars.com. BeatStars.com. beatsstars.com.
Love the piano on that.
Yeah, thanks.
Love it. Eighth Life said, getting some not a player vibes with that piano.
Okay, big pun. I'm
I
with
like
it.
that, friend.
Yeah, I like that. Where are you getting, if you don't mind us asking, where are you getting some of these samples from? I know you said you're mainly a sample-based producer.
Yeah, so that one is from a producer, Icarus. I think his Instagram is not Kid Icarus.
Fire.
The pop one, yeah, it's all just sample makers. I think one of those might be a splice one and just pitched up and stuff.
Nice. Are these guys personally sending you packs, or are you buying their loop kits, or how are you getting these samples?
About half and half.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I love those. The best packs I think to like buy, because sometimes those packs get pricey, especially if you're not selling a lot of beats to like make up for it. They'll do like those charity packs
Yeah.
or like those fundraising packs where it's like a ton of producers will put in like 50 samples for like $20.
Yeah,
And so you get like all the variety of like 50 different producers. So I think like looking out for those are a good, like I always buy those whenever they come out.
Very dope.
Look at some little gems. Love that.
Charity pack.
Okay. It's your last beat. What do you want to play?
Let's do Cardiac.
Alright.
Yeah.
beatsstars.com. beatsstars.com. BeatStars.
That was a little romantic. It's feeling a little lovey. But everybody in the chat loved it. You guys went up today for real.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate you guys.
Shout out to everyone in the chat watching the show today. Shout out to
For real.
Oasis and Graham for hanging out today. Now is the time for any famous last words. If either of you, where to find y'all? Can people reach out to you? Those kinds of things.
Man.
Yeah, so you can find me on all platforms, ProdX Oasis, just PRODX Oasis. I post tight beats every week. I do a lot of customs for artists, or if you're an artist yourself or you know somebody that's looking for mixing and mastering, definitely hit my line. And yeah,
Amazing.
thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Graham, over to you.
Thank you all for taking your time to hop in with me, Tia and Oasis. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Instagram is at 100 gram beats. It's the same for YouTube. I'm uploading daily. Any producers in here that want to send loops, emails in my Instagram, anything. So if it's solid, I'll work with it. But yeah, man, thank you guys for having us. It was fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for being a part of the BeatStars family and trusting us with your craft and for spending this afternoon with me. I appreciate you guys both. Shout out to y'all in the chat. If you are not doing anything else after this, you can head over to our Twitter account, join Twitter Spaces. Marcus is going to be over there talking to you guys today. And I'm out of here. See you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks again. Hope to see you soon.
Appreciate it.
Later.